This is a Liberating Wealth tutorial, and today we are going to get more in depth on how Xero suggests transactions when reconciling a bank account. As you can see, we are in the demo company dashboard. Let's click the reconcile button, which will take us to the reconciliation screen. Xero follows a process to determine which transaction to suggest. First, it takes a look at the amounts of each transaction. If the bank statement amount matches a Xero transaction, that transaction leaps to the top of the suggestion line. For example, this first transaction cleared the bank and we know it is check 1236 for $1,181.25, and Xero found a bank transaction in our demo's books for the same amount. If this is correct, which we know it is, we click OK. What if there are multiple Xero transactions for the same amount? How does Xero know which one to choose? Simply, it guesses based on due dates and reference numbers. It is common for a business to sell the same package of service or product to a customer, which means you could have many invoices for the same amount. We see this exact situation right here. There's a bank statement line showing a transaction for $2,000 from Jacaranda Maple Systems. Although the amounts match, Xero is matching against an invoice to ABC Furniture. To fix this, we switch to the correct invoice by clicking the Other Possible Match Found link at the bottom of the Xero transaction box. After clicking the link, a box appears that displays an additional invoice made out to Jacaranda Maple Systems. Click the checkbox next to the Jacaranda invoice and unclick the ABC Furniture checkbox. With the correct invoice selected, we can finish the reconciling by clicking the OK button. Thankfully, reconciling this transaction also marks the invoice as paid in Xero. If you reconcile bills or credit memos, they will also get completed upon reconciliation. If no transactions are in Xero that match the bank transaction, the super nifty bank rules feature steps in to try and fill the void. In the demo company, there's a transaction from 7-Eleven that uses a bank rule to reconcile. The name of the bank rule is 7-Eleven. Click the rule name and Xero will take us to a new screen with all of the rule parameters. The first section lets us determine which conditions the bank transaction must match against for the rule to apply. Click the first pull-down menu and we will see multiple fields to match against. Whether a certain field is usable is determined by how your bank feed comes in. For most U.S. banks, the only fields available are the reference and amount. We can see what fields are available by clicking the More link underneath a bank transaction. For the demo 7-Eleven transaction, it is best to use the Payee field. Our final condition will state Payee contains 7-Eleven. The middle pull-down showing the different operators is fairly self-explanatory. Equals means that the matching field must equal exactly the phrase we give it, in this case 7-Eleven. There can be no text before or after the 7-Eleven text. Contains means 7-Eleven will match if it is found at the beginning, end, or anywhere in the middle, meaning other text can surround 7-Eleven. Starts with means 7-Eleven must show up at the beginning of the matching field, otherwise the rule will not be applied successfully. Last is blank, which matches a field that has no text in it. Once our conditions look the way we want, we tell the bank rule how to code the transaction. In our example, we want to set the contact to 7-Eleven, give it a description of miscellaneous corner store, apply it to the account, office expenses, and allocate 100% of the expense to this office expense account. Notice in box 3 that we could tell the bank rule to code a fixed amount to a different account. Perhaps I buy $10 worth of stamps at 7-Eleven every time I go, and that amount needs to get coded to our postage account. This leaves the remaining uncoded balance to the box 4 coding. The set the reference condition is asking if the rule will transfer the reference field to the Xero transaction, or to ask the user to set it while reconciling. We will leave it at from the reference. In box 6, we want to apply this rule to all bank accounts, but if desired, we could limit it to just this checking account. And finally, give the rule a name that is easily recognizable later. Click Save, and let's bounce back to our 7-Eleven transaction in the reconciliation window. Click OK, and that completes the reconciliation of this transaction. If we want to create a rule for a bank transaction that doesn't match one yet, click the Create Rule link that sits to the top right of every bank statement line. Xero automatically fills in the boxes with what could be the desired conditions to make the rule work for you. If Xero is unable to match to a transaction already coded and no bank rules are found, Xero fills in the Create tab with values you use from prior reconciled transactions in anticipation of the bank transaction being the same or at least similar. Xero did this with our demo transaction from Ridgeway Banking Corporation. In the past, the transaction was coded to the Ridgeway bank contact and the bank service charges account. Our only job is to fill in the optional description field. Let's fill that description with a monthly service fee and click OK to finish reconciling it. If no prior transactions are found, you're just out of luck and will have to fill in the fields manually. But this is still way better than having to create a separate transaction in Xero and then being forced to return to the recon screen to finish reconciliation. It is extremely useful how Xero has integrated this transaction creation process into the reconciliation screen. In essence, it allows your bank statement lines to help automate coding transactions in Xero. Less work gives you more time to play doing the things that you really enjoy in your business. You now know how to handle the majority of bank reconciliation scenarios and quickly reconcile your bank account, leading to better Xero data. Go step into your real Xero account and give it a go. This is Patrick from Liberating Wealth. I'll be here if you need any help. Feel free to comment or send me any questions you have.